Welcome to everyone. Thank you for coming. So I'm Eddy Travia. I'm the CEO of Coinsilium and one of the co-founders with Malcolm. As Patrick was saying, we have been on this exchange, the NEX exchange, since December 2015, and I started in this space in 2013. Initially looking at, of course, Bitcoin, which was the main thing actually we could look at in 2013. And since then, as you may know, many things happen, and we have been active, and we have been part of the evolution of the whole cryptocurrency and blockchain technology ecosystem and environment. So we have, the first thing is a disclaimer, which you probably cannot read. But basically, I'm going to speak about, apart from Coinsilium, obviously, but I'm going to speak about other possible investments like tokens and cryptocurrencies. So I think the disclaimer basically says, don't come back to me if one of these tokens are doing as well as you think it should do. So I'm kind of considered a pioneer investor because when I started, not so many people were actually very open about investing in this space. And there was definitely not much structure on investing in the space back in 2013. The first deal that that was making noise was a small company at the time called Coinbase. And they had raised, I think, $5 or $6 million. And one of the funds was IDG, which you may know. And I had contact with IDG in China. And at that time, that kind of, that triggered some interest for me to look into this space. And instead of choosing to go only in the direction of buying coins and buying tokens, the idea was more to help startups grow, nurture them, guide them, advise them, and eventually, of course, benefit from the appreciation of the value of this company. So me and the other co-founders, the idea was really to invest in companies, not in cryptocurrencies at the time. So before that, I was doing private equity, mainly in China, for about 10 years. And overall, so we have invested a bit more now, I think about 20 blockchain companies worldwide. Malcolm Paley is the co-founder and chairman. His background is entrepreneurial, more in this part of the world. So originally I'm French, but I've been living in China, and I've been active in Asia for a while, for almost 15 years. And Malcolm Paley in this part of the world has been an entrepreneur in the world of mobile telecom, insurance, and most lately, before Coinsilium, was looking at the mining sector and active in that space. The traditional mining sector, of course, gold and commodities. And then we have two non-executive directors. One of them is here. Tony Sarin has been on the board of Coinsilium since we started. Tony Sarin brought some experience in the world of public companies because one of his companies was listed back during the internet boom years, so I guess at the end of the 90s. And since then, he had some experience in public companies, and that's definitely something we needed when we started Coinsilium, because the aim was to list on a recognized stock exchange in London. And Craig Brown has joined the board more recently, I think late 2016, beginning 2017. And the idea was to have someone with qualifications in the world of accounting and finance, and he has been extremely helpful in that capacity and with his skill. So that's just a snapshot. So when Patrick Burley, the CEO of NEX Exchange, was talking about the oscillation, I guess it's quite obvious here. There is no surprise in a way that the shape of our share price is actually quite close to the shape of cryptocurrency price. It's a correlation that we cannot do much about it. The market sees us under that angle. And as you can see, the peak of the crypto price, if you have been following the market, was around December, January, earlier this year, and that's when our share price was up. But at least we can see that our current price is higher than the early years. So this year has been special in the sense that since the beginning we started as an investment company, but because of the market and the fact that many companies have been trying to do what we call ICO or token generation events, they needed people with a lot of experience in that space and expertise in the whole cryptocurrency and blockchain sector. And they came to us in that regard. And basically, instead of just doing investment, our intention was already since last year to do more what we call venture building, to be more proactive. We have never been a passive investor. We have always been quite active. But this came as a new activity. And last year with the wave of ICOs, so some of them we had invested in them. So for example, Indoors, who's going to present today. And some of them we have not invested. They came as what we call advisory clients. And that's why we had this increase in revenues and profit in the first 6 months of this year, is because we have been helping several companies doing what we call the token sale or token generation events. So that's a big difference, a big contrast to the earlier years where we mainly the funds were being used to invest. This year we have done both investing and getting revenue from this activity. So this is a snapshot of a selection of our portfolio companies, all important in their own right, and at various stages of development. So actually here you have, on this slide, you have 2 of the kind of oldest companies in the sector. So RSK Labs is originally from Argentina. The team is based in Argentina. And I started talking to the CEO, Diego Gutierrez Saldivar, back in 2013. And he was not really openly that involved in RSK at the time. He was more very openly involved in the cryptocurrency sector in Argentina and Latin America. And we were discussing on that level. And then when we understood better what he was doing with RSK Labs, which is the first platform that enables smart contract validated by the Bitcoin network and secured by the Bitcoin network, we decided it was an interesting investment opportunity, and we were the first investor in that company, the first external investor. And now we go to today. They have achieved the fact that they are on the mainnet. They have a mainnet running. Mainnet being, after the testnet, you have the actual platform working. So this is RSK Labs, one of our first investment when we got listed actually on NEX. Factom is also quite old in the space as well. So they started, I believe, in 2014, 2015, and we invested in 2015. Their work is more around one of the basic functions of blockchain, which is basically to make sure that an event or a record or data has been recorded on a certain database. Now, the data is recorded on a regular centralized database, but the hash of the data is actually anchored to different blockchains. So the hash of the data is anchored on different blockchains. So not only Bitcoin, but Ethereum, Ripple, etc. So that's their main activity, and it's very useful with applications which use a lot of data, such as, for example, stock exchanges, mortgages. They have a specific solution called Harmony, which is built for the real estate and mortgage business in the US. They are based in Austin, Texas. And Indoors, so Indoors is a bit more recent for us. It's an investment we have made last year in 2017. Although the company is younger, I've known one of the co-founders since 2013. So it's part of our network in terms of the people that built the company. And as Gaurang Torvika, who is the CEO, is here, he will explain more what they do. But we quickly describe it as a kind of decentralized LinkedIn. When you're on LinkedIn, you don't really, I think there are several maybe even issues with LinkedIn. One is the fact that you don't know that the claims they make are actually true. You have people who are certified, qualified, etc. I've done this, I've worked there, but are you sure this is the reality? So it's very important in a recruitment perspective. And the other issue with LinkedIn is that, you're either paying or you're never really sharing any revenue for the platform, although we are the content, right? I mean, it's the same on other platforms, but on LinkedIn, which is a professional platform, we definitely are the content. And Indoors finds a way to actually reward people and make them share the benefit from being the content in that sense. And Gaurang will explain that to you after that. And Halprobit is actually one of the kind of graduates of our accelerator program we were running in Barcelona in 2016. And they are actually helping in case of, for example, natural disaster. They are helping to send funds to locations where the bank networks are not working anymore, so they use Bitcoin or they use cryptocurrencies. And they also work with very large insurance companies and banks in Italy. It's an Italian-based project. Then quickly we have 4 more here. So Blocks. Blocks is a company initially known as CoinDash. We also invested like Indoors before they did the token sale. And for now it's a tracking portfolio. It tracks different values of cryptocurrencies, assets, crypto assets. But the idea is actually to build a network of traders or network of people, holders of crypto assets, and then move towards social trading. That's kind of the end goal. And at the moment, they are building the tool. They are a very active development team. They are based in Israel. And they have done a lot of good work, maybe not yet extremely visible, and hopefully we get there soon. Elevate Health. Again, this is a presentation today, so I won't spend too much time on it, but personally I like it a lot because it's in the area of health and rewarding people for actually adopting a better health lifestyle. And they will explain to you how it works and how the reward system works as well. Startup Token is an investment we did last year. It's actually very focused on this sector of token sales with the objective of becoming a network of accelerators for teams that want to develop a project or a product or solution and then do a token sale. And this is a Gibraltar-based company. We have a kind of special interest in Gibraltar in the sense that we like their approach to the world of crypto, and they're being very innovative in the world of regulations. And anytime soon should come out the ICO regulations. It will be one of the first jurisdictions in the world to issue that kind of regulation. And Startup Token is based there. And then Bundle is a company we've invested this year, actually. Bundle is a company where you're going to be able to create your own kind of virtual ETFs of different cryptocurrencies and get the best price on different exchanges for it. It's quite impressive technology. It allows you to buy the token at the best price over, for example, 10 exchanges instantly. It's quite very interesting. So quickly, what do we do in terms of advisory services? People come to see us at various stages. Some of them, maybe the token model, the white paper is done, and we just have to review it and advise them on that. But sometimes they come earlier than that, and they need help with the token modeling and the token economics. So not going to speak too long about that, but I usually speak in different conferences around the world, and one of the topics is a challenge around actually valuing a company today, not only in terms of equity value and the traditional revenue or discounted cash flow if you can do it, but actually now you have to look at equity and you have to look at the token economics for all these companies which are issuing a token. And usually there is a big difference between the two. So you have a market value for the equity and you have a value for the tokens. So we try to help these companies propose a model that is attractive to investors and to token buyers, basically. So we also make recommendations in terms of what jurisdictions they could look at, but of course then they talk to the lawyers there. I mean, doing a token sale is not far from doing an IPO in many senses. You have to worry about communications, you have to worry about the legal part, you have to look at the tax, you need to talk to people like PwC or Deloitte. There is a lot of the characteristics and the work that you usually do. But at the end of the day, of course, you don't issue a share, you don't issue a security. Although, as we will see, there is a market now being born around what we call security tokens. But until now, we have helped only companies involved in utility tokens, meaning tokens that can be used on a platform itself, not representing a security, asset-backed, or, giving a revenue or a share of through a dividend, for example. So our revenue model with these clients is quite straightforward and is actually common in the industry. We charge them an advisory fee and a retainer and a success fee. So once the token sale is completed, we get a percentage on that. And that's mainly our source of revenue at the moment and has been for the first 6 months of the year. The client pipeline is good. I mean, to be honest, we have a lot of demand and we're trying to be selective because the market has changed. Last year the market was in the direction that there was a demand for a lot of projects and not such a huge supply. And this year we're in the reverse scenario where there is a lot of supply, a lot of projects that want to do token sales. So we have to be quite selective. These are some examples of ICOs we have been advising. Phantom, a Korea-based project, they raised, actually it's kind of one of the latest fast raise and successful raise of this year. They raised almost $40 million by the beginning of June, and it went quite quick, and they did very well their token sale. HDAC is also Korean. They did a good job in raising that much money. The reason why it's a big amount as well is because they started raising in Bitcoin in early or in summer 2017 when Bitcoin had not yet reached the peak. But the ICO got completed in December when really Bitcoin was around almost $20,000, hence the very big raise in dollar amount as well. We advise another Gibraltar company, which is Gibraltar Blockchain Exchange, and actually a subsidiary of the Gibraltar Stock Exchange. And that went very well also last year. They raised $27 million. And we advise Blocks, which is actually our portfolio company and building this asset tracking solution. And 4 more that we advised out of our clients. One of them actually is a medical chain, is actually tied to the UK. They have a doctor from the UK, he's a co-founder, and his brother as well is in the company. They want to make sure that when you travel, your medical data can travel with you, can cross borders, and what are they using? Blockchain to do that, So that's very interesting. Icon is a quite ambitious project. They raised a lot of Ether, a lot of crypto, which was equivalent at the time at $45 million, Korean-based as well. I'm very popular in Korea. I don't know. It's interesting. But Icon is a very good project as well, working with very big industry players, such as Phantom as well and HDAC too. Korea, most of the successful ICOs are somehow connected to actually very large corporations. Dieter, French project, they're trying to make sure that people can buy crypto in the street or in meeting people, retail, etc. So they're trying to democratize the access to cryptocurrencies. And Indoors, of course, which did a successful token sale last year, and they're going to talk here today after me. So this is the last slide about my presentation about Coinsilium. So now the end of this year, there are a few projects and a few things that we have announced already. So we have announced the establishment of the fund, Flowstone Capital. And actually this fund comes from this activity. The reason why we have this fund is because we have been advising clients that have been paying us in cryptocurrency and in tokens, some of them. And therefore, that's the capital of Flowstone Capital, which is a private scheme fund out of Gibraltar. So again, connection with Gibraltar. This is where our crypto fund is based. So Gibraltar, apart, of course, from, let's say, tax advantages. The main reason why we're in Gibraltar is not so much for the tax advantage, but also for the fact that they are very innovative and approaching the regulation towards crypto after having studied this sector for at least almost 3 years now. So we trust that the government there understands the sector. TerraStream is another project that is based out of Gibraltar in a different sector, which is the natural resource sector, which is a sector in which the chairman of the company has some experience as well, as I mentioned before. And the idea, again, is we see a lot of demand from mining companies, natural resource companies, to kind of tokenize future production or tokenize a part of their business. And because we see this shift from utility token to security token, we want to be part of this, and we see 2019 as actually being very active in this space and moving probably our advisory service more towards the demand around security tokens as well. I already talked about Gibraltar and security token advisory, as I was saying. This is probably is going to keep us busy most of 2019. And that's it. Thank you very much. Thank you.